about it. Here's the first one. If any of you go for ziyarah to Karbala, there are certain days which are recommended to go to Karbala. One of those days is the 15th of Shaam, which is the birthday of our Imam. If you go to see Imam Hussein on the birthday of Imam al-Mahdi alayhi salam, you get the reward of it's as if you have shaken the hands of every single prophet who was sent to the earth. But let's stop for a second. Why? I've gone to Imam Hussein on the 12th Imam's birthday, and I get the reward of meeting all of the prophets on only this one day. So if you go to Imam Hussein's Haram today, you don't get that reward. If you go on Ashura, you don't even get this reward. Only if you go on the birthday of our Imam do you get the reward of meeting all the prophets. Now I'm going to ask all of you, why? Why do you think there's so much thawab in going to Imam Hussein alayhi salam on the birthday of the 12th Imam? Give yourself a minute, talk to the person next to you. Why so much thawab on Imam alayhi salam's birthday? And I'll ask you in about a minute. Go ahead.
Why do you think that? I don't know.
Anything else? Any good ideas?
Give yourself about 20 seconds. What could the answer be? See your hand, not yet, bro, not yet. Just wait a second. Oh, you're pointing at the next to you. Doesn't work like that. You're going to be first now. You're going to be first. So you've got 10 seconds to have an answer. Everyone else keep thinking about it. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, that's done. So, the question, and you're going to go first. You did that to yourself. You're going to go first. The question is, why do you think? What's your name, brother? What's your name? Ali. Just listen. I'm here, bro. I'm here for you. Don't worry. I got you. Listen, Ali. Imam Hussein alayhi salam is the third Imam, okay? And going to see him is an amazing thing. But going on the birthday of the 12th Imam is apparently, it's as if you're seeing all the prophets that you see or go on that day. Why do you think it's so important to see Imam Hussein alayhi salam on the birthday of the 12th Imam?
Relationship.
Because of the relationship between who?
Imams, the Imam Hussein and Imam Mahdi.
Absolutely, they have a very special relationship. That's actually, you actually got the answer correct. Don't be so shy, you knew the answer already. That's it. Because Imam Hussein and our 12th Imam have a very special relationship. Third Imam, 12th Imam, very direct relationship. What Imam Hussein is doing on Karbala is directly linked to what Imam Mahdi is going to be doing when he comes back. I'll give you a good example. You know Imam Hussein, while Imam is fighting and he's alone and there's no one left to fight with him anymore, he says a really strange line. So Imam Hussein is lying there and the enemy is walking towards him to kill him. And he says the words, "My blood will not rest until my son the Mahdi comes." He says it when? On Ashura. My Mahdi's not been born yet, my Mahdi's not come to the earth yet, and for some reason, Imam Hussein is thinking of Imam Mahdi when he's in that difficult moment. That the blood that has just been shed now, it won't rest until he comes. And that's why we say our 12th Imam, one of his titles is he is the Avenger of Karbala. You all know about the Avengers, yeah? You know the Avengers, these superheroes who have these powers. We have superheroes in our religion as well. Our Imams are our heroes. Our Imams are our heroes. And the word Avenger is from our books, about how we describe the 12th Imam. What's avenge? It's when you have revenge for something which has already been done, that was done badly. Look at Karbala. The blood that was spilled on Ashura should not have been spilled. Imam Hussein should not have been killed. And they should not have been killed. Someone's got to come and take revenge for all of that killing. And that's the 12th Imam. So at that time, Imam Hussein is thinking of the 12th Imam. Now the 12th Imam today is thinking of Imam Hussein. They're thinking of each other. So you know how we come to Majlis and we cry for Imam Hussein and we cry and we do masayib? The 12th Imam says, I cry for Imam Hussein every morning and every night. I cry for him. And you know how we cry, we have tears that are water. Imam says, I have tears of blood that come out when I cry for my grandfather Hussein. So they're thinking of each other. One's thinking of Imam Mahdi that I wish he's going to come and have revenge for me. And Imam Mahdi is thinking, I wish I was going to fight with you, and because I couldn't fight with you, I'm going to cry for you every day, every morning and every evening. Okay. While Imam Hussein is fighting, all the angels are watching him in the battle. We have this narration. And they're seeing him fight. And the angels are shocked at Karbala, like, we can't believe what's happening. And the angels say to Allah, Allah, how can you allow the most amazing person, Imam Hussein to be dying on the day of Ashura? And Allah then says, and points this ishara, he says, look towards this area. There's a shadow. And he says, this shadow will become the man who will take revenge for Imam Hussein. I'll take revenge through him. So all of Ashura is directly linked to the 12th Imam. He's going to come back to take revenge of Karbala. Okay, next question to all of you. Ready for the next question?
Yeah.
When our 12th Imam comes, and you might have heard it in the main lecture I mentioned a few days ago, the first place he goes to is where when he returns? What's the first place he goes to? Anyone remember? The first place he goes to is Makkah. Did you know what you're going to say? Sorry, sister, I got there first. Makkah. Imam Mahdi goes to the Kaaba and he stands, and when he speaks, the whole world hears what he says. And in their own languages. So you know how we speak English, we'll hear it in English. If someone speaks French, they'll hear it in French. If someone speaks Chinese, they'll hear it in Chinese. Whatever language you know, you'll hear these words. He says, I am the Imam, I have returned, and I'm the grandson of Hussein who was killed while he was thirsty. And I'm the grandson of Hussein who was killed and his body was trampled. Right. Here's the question to all of you. Imam Mahdi's come back. The whole world is going to be following him. They want to know about him. The first thing he says is, I'm the grandson of Hussein. Why do you think he begins in speaking to the whole world, not about himself and who he is, but he begins and says, I'm the grandson of Hussein alayhi salam. Why do you think he starts by talking about Imam Hussein to the whole world when he returns? Give yourself 1 minute and think about this. Why is he talking about Hussein? Give yourself a minute, talk to the person next to you. If you're not got anyone next to you, if you see someone around you who's not talking to anyone, bring them closer to you, include them with you. Keep thinking. The question is, why does Imam alayhi salam, as I told you about, think of Imam Hussein when he returns and tell everyone about him?
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, so when the 12th Imam returns, the first thing he speaks about to the whole world is that he's the grandson of Imam Hussein. And he tells the whole world Hussein was killed while he was thirsty. So my question to you is, the Imam speaking to the whole world, so why is he mentioning Ashura to the whole world the moment he's come back? Give yourselves literally 10 more seconds. I took the person next to you. Alright, I think you have 10 seconds. Hands up if you have any ideas. Okay, I see a few hands here, big brothers. I see a hand there. Anyone around here got any ideas? So I know you got an idea. Okay, I'll come to you first, but do you want to go first? So why do you think the Imam alayhi salam, the 12th Imam, is speaking to the whole world about who Imam Hussein is? It's okay, what do you think? What's your name? What's your name? Muhammad Ali? Okay, I'm Abbas. You're Muhammad Ali, yeah? Muhammad Ali, look at me. Okay, our Imam is Imam Mahdi alayhi salam. He's the best, he's our Imam. And he's going to tell the whole world about Imam Hussein. Why do you think he's going to tell the whole world about Imam Hussein alayhi salam? It's okay, you keep thinking about it. When you're ready, you put your hand up again, okay? You keep thinking about it. Ashal, go ahead.
Because he's the avenger of Imam Hussein and all his life he's been crying for Imam Hussein.
So he's been waiting his whole life to avenge the Karbala, and now he's going to tell the whole world. Interesting, good. Go ahead, brother.
Imam Hussein saved Islam and Shia Islam.
So if Imam Hussein saved Islam, why is he telling the whole world about him? What's the link there?
Because if he didn't save Islam, then he wouldn't be here, he'd be somewhere else.
Amazing. Can I add one more thing to what you just said? People Islam, but they don't even know who Imam Hussein Islam is. They think Islam is some bad thing sometimes, a violent thing. So he's showing them what true Islam is, the same Islam Imam Hussein Islam came to defend, right? I think that was part of your point, and I just kind of brought it out a little bit. So very good. Go ahead, brother.
He's going to tell everybody that it's like sort of annoying because of the death of Imam Hussein. Like in they can like take revenge from Imam Hussein, like in the battle of Karbala.
Yeah, so the whole world needs to know about what happened, right? And they need to know what side they would have chosen, to know what side they're going to choose now. That's very good. Was one of the sisters have the hand up? I think I might miss it. Did the sister have the hand up? No? That's okay. Go ahead, brother.
To remind the people of the biggest crime in history.
That's a very good point. To remind them of the biggest crime in history, ahassan. Yeah. Yeah, they should know. The world should know. Amazing. Anyone else want to mention anything before I give some other ideas? Anyone else? We good? Okay, looking towards me, guys, looking towards me, please. So you're all right. All of you are correct. Imam Hussein Islam was to, his message needs to be told to the whole world. One of the reasons why our 12th Imam speaks to the whole world about Imam Hussein is, of course, to remind them about Karbala, to give them an idea of right and wrong, so that when the time comes to choose right and wrong today, they know who they're going to choose. Because he's going to be saying, I'm the grandson of Hussein, he's my grandfather, I'm carrying on where he left off. So if you cry for Imam Hussein, you should then support me. And if anyone hears Imam Hussein's musibah, they'll just start crying. You don't need to be a Muslim to cry for Imam Hussein. Anyone can cry for Imam Hussein. So if they cry for Imam Hussein, they'll naturally want to avenge the blood of Imam Hussein. And that way, so many people who might not be a Shia Muslim will become Muslim just because of Hussein alayhi salam. Because someone has now come and said, do you see how sad that story is? Do you see how wrong it was? We have to do something about it. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to avenge the day of Ashura. Okay. Of you three, can I ask one of you comes and sits here, please? Choose among yourselves, or I'll choose. Come sit here, please. Thank you. Okay. Come over here, right next to me, please. Thank you so much. So, Imam Hussein alayhi salam chooses his message. The Sultan's going to speak about it to the whole world. Okay? The first thing he does. The next thing he does is, he says to the whole world, I'm the Imam. My grandfather is Hussein. Then he leaves and goes towards Kufa. That's the next thing he does. Kufa is where Imam Hussein was going to go. And he had sent someone before him in order to get the place ready for him to arrive. His cousin. Anyone know his cousin's name who goes to Kufa? You know, we don't know? Go ahead. Okay, you know his sister? Muslim bin Aqil. Imam Hussein sends him first, but as we know, Muslim bin Aqil is martyred, he's killed, so Imam Hussein can't go and fight over there. But the reason why he's going there because Imam Ali alayhi salam made the capital Kufa, that's the capital. Even today it's our capital, because Kufa's linked with Najaf now. Our Imam's going to go to the same place and make it his capital, Kufa. To show everyone, Imam Hussein wanted to go to Kufa, but he couldn't. But I'm going to go to Kufa, and I'm going to make it the true base that it should be. But then, after Kufa, he'll go to Karbala, 12th Imam. He will have with him, at that point, 360 companions. And he'll send them to all over the world. They'll come back with more companions, and they will march, we hope we pray we are among them, they'll march from Kufa to Karbala. Question to all of you. Why is Imam al-Mahdi, who's going to bring justice to the whole world, doing ziyarat of Imam Hussein alayhi salam in the beginning of his message? He could go and start, fighting all the enemies and causing justice on this earth. But he needs to do ziyarat of Imam Hussein alayhi salam before he does all of those things. Here's the last question to all of you. Why does Imam al-Mahdi take all his companions to do ziyarat of Imam Hussein alayhi salam before he does his mission of justice? Go ahead, give yourselves 1 minute. Talk to the person next to you, ask them, why would Imam Mahdi do ziyarah of Imam Hussein alayhi salam when his plan is to bring justice to the earth? Why is he going there? Think to yourself. Alright, give yourselves 30 more seconds and I'm going to come to you, inshallah. Alright. Let's see. We'll end the countdown if someone gives a big Nara Hadri.
Nara Hadri!
Okay, thank you so much. Imam Ali has returned. Let's say it happened right now. The noise has come, the trumpet has sounded, the voice comes. Imam Mahdi has returned. He's gone to Makkah, he's gone to the Kaaba. His companions go to the whole world. They come back to him. People flock towards him. He marches from Kaaba to Kufa, makes it his base. Then he decides to not just stay in Kufa, but do ziyarat of Karbala and then go back to Kufa. Why is he going to Karbala? Why do we think? Any ideas? Pihan hasn't got any idea. Alright, good. Brother, why don't you go first?
They can all visit Imam Hussein and get the blessing from Imam Hussein.
Visit Hussein, get the blessing, good, get the ziyarat. By the way, if there are sisters listening, the ladies, if they tell Sister Samina, she can text me and I can read out yours as well. That's actually a good idea to include them, inshallah. Okay, good idea. So, they can get the barakah, the blessing of ziyarah, which is an amazing barakah. Good. What else? Go ahead, sister.
Because he's showing the sign, like, it's like a sign of respect towards Allah.
That's great. Our respect to him, that where you died for the religion, I'm going to carry on the work that you started, or you carried on, and I'm going to respect to what you've done. That's a really nice point, actually. MashaAllah. Go ahead, brother.
Before Imam Hussein went to Park or Karbala, he asked the bad people for one more day so he could worship Allah. So Imam Mahdi likes people who worship Allah.
Wow, that's a very nice point. I don't know if you guys got that point. So Imam Hussein, before his fight, he gives 1 day of ibadat, 99 of MUHARRUM. He asked for one more day. So the brother is saying, what better place to do ibadat before the battle of justice than going to Karbala to do worship of Allah? It's a very, very good point. MashaAllah, bro. I really like that point. Brother at the back, and then we'll come to you. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
Bring Imam Hussein back to life?
So some scholars think Imam Hussein will come back to life in those days when they have the big battle. I'll come to that. There's different opinions, but that could be one of the reasons. But Imam Mahdi doesn't bring it back to life. If he comes back to life, Allah gives him his life again and he comes back. But interesting approach. Go ahead.
If he loves Imam Hussein so much, won't he do a ziyarat for him before he dies?
Exactly. You do ziyarat for him because he's your Imam, right? Very good point, guys. Anyone got any others before I add them? If it's okay, any hands up? Okay. So of course, Imam Mahdi goes for ziyarat to Imam Hussein because he's the Imam and he wants to begin his message with ziyarat of Abdullah. But there's more reasons why he goes there. One, of course, is so the world understands Karbala has not ended here. Because Karbala is not just some story that happens in the past that we come together and talk about history. Karbala is happening right now as well. And when the Imam goes there, he's showing that my message is happening right now, and I can't do it unless you understand Karbala and you understand what happened on that day. So he's making it even more clear. So he speaks back to the whole world when he comes back. He goes to where Imam Hussein was going to go, and he goes directly to Imam Hussein to show everyone, do you not see that I'm doing the exact thing of Karbala? I'm carrying on the same message. There's another reason why. On the day of Ashura, when Imam Hussein was going to go and fight, 4,000 angels come from heaven to Imam Hussein, an army of angels, and they have their armor and swords ready. And they say to him, you are the Imam of our time, and we want to fight for you. Those angels, Imam Hussein said to them, no, I will not allow you to fight for me. I have 72 companions already with me, and this is not your fight. Those 4,000 angels, then they stayed and stopped at that same place. And right now, they are in Karbala, and they are underneath the haram of Imam Hussein, and they are waiting. And their slogan is, Ya li tharat al-Hussein, oh the blood of Hussein, when will we avenge the blood of Hussein? So Imam Mahdi goes to Karbala to bring all those 4,000 with him. That you could not fight for Imam alayhi salam, but you're going to fight with me now. And he'll expand his army with angels as well. Also, after Karbala, many jinn got to Karbala to help Imam Hussein alayhi salam. You know we have jinn in this world, an army of jinn. But they got there too late. Imam Hussein had already been killed at that time. So even they waited there, saying, we will avenge Karbala. He'll bring those with him. So he'll bring with him the angels and the jinn who could not fight for the Imam. They'll join Imam Mahdi alayhi salam. And all of those zawar, those pilgrims to Imam Hussein, they'll join him as well. Because why we're going for ziyarah is to show the Imam we respect your rights and we do what you say. So here comes the Imam saying, well, I'm saying it's time for revenge. So they'll join him. Then he'll go back to Kufa with a much larger army. And the whole world will see there is one man on this earth who's standing for haqq, for truth, and not for evil. And we have to choose. Do we go between the evil of this world or the one who's righteous and truthful in this world? And inshallah, they will choose the Imam alayhi salam. Okay. I want to mention you one last point, and then I'll ask a few questions, and then we'll finish today. The last point is this. Have any of you read Ziyarat Ashura? You've read it before? Yeah? Okay. I would like all of you to read it again when you go back home. And if you read Ziyarat Ashura, there are at least 2, if not 3 lines about Imam Mahdi alayhi salam in Ziyarat Ashura. But you've got to find them. So my little task for you guys is go home, go to Ziyarat Ashura, read it, and look for where are we mentioning Imam Mahdi, not by name, but by his title, by something about him in Ziyarat Ashura. There's about 2 or 3, find it inshallah. Okay, good. That's your little task for all of you. And the one yesterday will be Duw Park, because it's an amazing dua to read, inshallah. Are there any questions about anything I mentioned today, yesterday, or the day before? Any questions in general? Now's a great time if you want to ask anything, inshallah, I'm here for you. Anything not clear or anything you want me to expand upon? Okay, amazing kids. Let's always our hands in dua, then put your hands up inshallah in dua. And let's pray that, Ya Allah, please make us all souls of the Imam alayhi salam, inshallah. Ilahi, ameen. Please make it that even though we might be young and we might have different things going on in our life, when the time comes, we are ready to fight for our Imam, inshallah. And if we have to show that we're ready to fight by having good character and being kind to our parents and gaining ilm, help us in all these things, Ya Allah. Ilahi. And finally, allow us to keep coming to this majlis and being loyal to Ahlul Bayt, inshallah. Ilahi, ameen. اللهم إني أسألك بحق فاتح بها بعد يمينه واستغفر المستعوذ فيها أن تصلي على محمد وآل محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. درود بر آل محمد صلوات. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. سلامت صلوات. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
درود بر جمع آل محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
One Urdu Marsiya, a few lines of them, and inshallah English poem on Sipa-e-abbas. है नबी से मोहब्बत का दावा जिसे उनकी औलाद से दुश्मनी छोड़ दे गर शफात पैगंबर से डर कर है उनके अगियार की दोस्ती छोड़ दे जिल्लत व माज़रत मासियत के सिवा दामने गैर में और कुछ भी नहीं उनके साए से डर उनसे बच कर निकल नूरे ईमान में आ गुमराही छोड़ दे अपने रब से बज़ाहिर तो डरता है तू लंबी लंबी नमाजें भी पढ़ता है तू और खामी नहीं कोई तुझ में बड़ी ख्वाहिश नफ्स की पैरवी छोड़ दे दुरूद भेजो मोहम्मद Just on my way here, I've just written a few lines of poetry from the events of Ashura, in particular on Sipa-e-abbas, especially for the youth and those who can understand English. So please just recite our salawat and we'll get started.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
His garment is torn, his heart is broken, his body is tired from lifting the mutilated bodies of loved ones and from gathering pieces of Bani Hashim. Exhausted from the trauma lays a heartbroken and thirsty Hussein, a sacred body riddled with wound upon wound, strike upon strike. Enemies whispering to one another, I swear by Allah, Hussein's eyes and Rasullah's eyes are so alike. Enemies whispering, pushing each other forward, the soldier beside him, but he cries out, I swear by Allah, this is the same man who the prophets used to hold and kiss. Silence in the army of Umar ibn Sa'd, as if they reminisce about the times of a young Hassan and Hussein in the lap of their grandfather. Silence which is disturbed by a call from near the tents. Is there not a Muslim amongst you? It's true when they say you don't need a sword to kill and make the enemies bleed. For Zainab with her speech alone toppled the entire army of Yazid. Each one looked away in despair. Fatally wounded, soul escaping, his beard turned white, drenched in the blood of his 6-month-old son. And 70,000 soldiers could not find the courage to approach one man. It's as if Abbas, Ali Akbar, Qasim, On and Muhammad had come back to life and became one soul contained within the body of Imam al-Hussein. The one who dared to come close retreated out of fear, and the one who looked into the eye of Hussein was pierced like a spear. It's as if their soul was saying to them, how can you kill the rightful grandson of the Prophet? Put down your arms and save him. But then the shimmer inside each one of them awakens and says the power and reward is too much to reject. Now haste and kill Hussein and place Zainab, Sakina and Zainul Abidin under arrest. In the midst of a barren land, mutilated bodies lay, tents are burning. It's either that time has stood still or history is repeating itself. It's as if Zainab is watching the men of Medina turn against her household and her mother's home is being looted again. But under the sunset of Ashura, a mountain of patience and utmost valor sits beside the remains of her brother, and she tells him, Abbas, oh my protector, where are your hands? The tyrants have snatched our cover. Sakina has brought you cold water, but neither you or Hussein answer. Zainab continues to converse back and forth whilst watching her tears create a ripple in the river Euphrates. The sand that surrounds you I've placed on my head. I'm covering my head with whatever I can find for the journey that awaits ahead. Fi amanillah Abbas, O Bani Hashim's moon, we will reunite by the pond of Kawthar very soon. Abbas, your personality is such that no mind can comprehend. To understand him, you must enter a different dimension. Therefore, brothers and sisters, let your soul towards the heavens ascend. Where this man's name is mentioned, the angels and malaika come down, and like us, these gatherings, even they attend. How strange is it that the man who has no left or right arm holds Israel in his left palm and Mikael in his right palm. His hands may have been cut when to his master he said his final goodbye, but tell me, what good are hands to the one whose fate is to fly? How is it that the man who looks over 60 million and has no vision, how is it that the man who lost his vision looks over 60 million? O uncle of the author of Sajjadiya, your name itself is a supplication. Say Ya Abu Fadil and you are protected. Not one prayer through your intercession is ever rejected. Once you say the name Abbas, know your prayer has been accepted. O you who planted the flag of Bani Hashim on the Furat, O teacher of Akbar, O student of Jafar-e-Tayyar, why should you drink from the Euphrates, even though water you were craving, when in heaven the pond of Kawthar was awaiting? In your name, Wallah, in your name, God didn't reveal a verse, but I testify your birth wasn't like any other. Like the Zulfiqar was sent for your father, you were sent as a revelation for your dead brother. The answer to Ali and Baneen's prayer. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Durood bar ali Muhammad salawat. Sorry, just a quick update on the program moving forward over the next couple of days. Mashallah, brother Abbas has got a busy schedule. The good news is he will be joining us tomorrow and the day after, but after Maghrib. So we've had to move our time slot from 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock start. So please can you come on time, and then we can obviously continue as we are. So thanks for everyone's support, and Duw Park Muhammad Sallallahu.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Nara takbir, Allahu Akbar. Nara risalat, Ya Rasulullah. Nara Hadiths, Ya Hadiths. Lantar salawat, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Surah Al-Fatiha. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الحمد لله الذي لا يبلغ مدحته القائلون ولا يحصي نعماءه العادون ولا يعد حقه المجتهدون، الذي لا يترك بعد الحمم ولا يناله غوص الفتن، الذي ليس له صفته حد محدود ولا نعت موجود ولا وقت معدود ولا عجل ممدود. أما بعد، صلى الله على سيدنا ومولانا حبيبنا رحمة الله العالمين وخاتم النبيين وخلق عظيم أبو القاسم المصطفى محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
صلى الله على من هو عند الرسول أخي وابن عمي ووسي ووارثي وموضع سري، أبو الحسنين مولى القونين إمام الثقلين يعصوب الدين رئيس الموحدين قائد الغر المحجلين والسيد المتقين أمير المؤمنين أسد الله الغالب غالب على كل غالب مظهر العجائب علي بن أبي طالب.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
وعلى أهل بيت السيدين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين ولعنة الله ولا القوم الظالمين من الآن إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد، صلى الله عليك يا أبا عبد الله، صلى الله عليك يا ابن رسول الله، يا رحمة الله الواسعة، يا باب نجاة الأمة، يا عبرة لكل مؤمن ومؤمنات، يا غريب يا مظلوم كربلاء. فيا ليتني كنا معكم سادتي فنفوز والله فوزا عظيما. أما بعد، قال الله الحكيم في محكم كتابه الكريم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الناس ما غرك بربك الكريم. صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوات.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم. Over the last few nights, we have been together unpacking a very special relationship between your knowledge of yourself and your love for Ahl Bayt. And what we have been seeing is that it's not possible to truly know yourself and work on yourself except with the help of Ali Muhammad. And similarly, it's not possible to know Ali Muhammad except that the more that you know them, the more you improve yourself just by being close to them. In the way that you have a friend, if you're around them long enough, you pick up their behavior. That's why children replicate the attitude of their parents, because this is the attitude they are most similarly acquainted to. Similarly, you who come to the Majlis of Hussein alayhi salam, who are hearing day after day, year after year, the same fadilat of Ahl al-Bayt, it should gradually make us like Ahl al-Bayt. That we adopt their behaviors and have their nazariyat and adopt their attitude and their approach towards suffering. Yesterday we set the scene for the battle within the nafs. Within all of us there is a conflict raging between our desires and the aql inside of us. And both are trying to win insan for themselves. Now in that battle, Ahl al-Bayt are of course an ally to your reason. In the same way, if you're having a battle between two armies, to call for reinforcements means to invite the attention of another army to come and join one army, to grow larger in number. And you have selected Ahl al-Bayt as your ally in your own life. You, lovers of Ahl al-Bayt, have chosen, I invite Ali Muhammad to my life, that they should be an ally for my cause. But it's not that simple, because our enemy also has allies. Our enemy is well funded and well equipped and has a multitude of armies coming to its disposal. And maybe the army of the greatest fear or strength that joins the shahwat against you is the army of this dunya. Hubb al-dunya, love of this world, is such a forceful attraction and a powerful weapon against us that I sometimes feel like every time we're making some progress in our lives, some attraction of this world brings us down again. And we have to rebuild all over again to go back towards Allah. And again, some feature of this world, some attraction we have brings us down again. And I can't seem to detach myself from loving this dunya. It's hard. It is hard to do this, because even Amir ibn Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam,
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad,
says, An-nas abna' dunya, people are children of this world. And he says, how can you expect them to rebel against their parents? Meaning that you come from this world and it's hard for you to reject the love of this world. Having said that, we cannot reach the highest levels of ma'rifat unless we sort out this issue within ourselves. That I can't be too attached to this dunya. And neither can I understand about and Ashura unless I understand why dunya can come to me. Because then I see why it could come to people like the enemy of Abu Abdullah and his friends. And now I can see why their value as companions is so much great. Like even though they had dunya against them, they still selected Abu Abdullah over this dunya. There's something special going on there, and I want the same thing for me. Okay, now let's pause for a moment while we continue. Dunya could mean a whole bunch of things. Dunya could mean anything. We are right now in alam al-dunya, the world of this dunya. And so technically, the heavens and the earth and the mountains, trees, they are part of dunya. We have got no problem with those things. They are signs of Allah. They are creation of Allah, the aflaq, the heavens, the mountains, bahr. These are all signs of God. That's not only when we say dunya. Also, we have family and friends and people around us. We are not saying that we need to focus so much on God that we are abandoning that part of dunya. There's no type of religion where you abandon your friends and family and their huquq in order to seek God. It doesn't work. If it was true, you'd see it in the Prophet Muhammad, but you don't see it. There are so many rights about the family that they are constantly showing to us. You can't just run away and escape in a corner and focus on your own faith and expect this to be ibadah. It's not. There's haqq of the family as well. And there are people today in the life of the Imams, and they'd be doing this all the time. A woman complains to Ali alayhi salam and says, it's not fair. My husband all day he is praying and engaged in worship. All night he's, in the day he fasts, at night he prays. He does not give any attention to the family. And the Imam says, this is not from my sunnah, this behavior. Being with your family is part of this religion, and there are ways of treating your family. So when we say about dunya, we're not talking about that in itself, that we have to run away from our family. Okay. Neither are we speaking about wealth and money. People come and say, to be religious you need to abandon the wealth of this world. It's not true. It's not true. Abandoning dunya does not mean having a life of poverty. That way of thinking is not right. The Holy Prophet Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad,
has said there are 70 parts of ibadat, and the greatest of them is earning halal rizq. Of all of those parts. So if someone comes and says, oh, loving dunya means you can't have a job with money and wealth as long as it's halal, that's not right. Similarly, our sixth Imam says that the one who is chasing halal rizq from this world is like a mujahid fi sabilillah. They're doing the jihad by going to work every day. When it's hard and you are struggling and there's heat or there are long hours, but you know this is for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and feeding your family. This is ibadat for you. So dunya does not mean those things. You get what I'm saying? Dunya is not about like attachment to the planets and the earth, and it's not really about abandoning your social responsibility and your friends and none of those things. No. Attachment to dunya is something else. It's when this world has its own charms and allures, and we become attached to them rather than using them for something else. They become the end, not the means to another end. One person lives for Allah but uses dunya for the sake of Allah. Another person lives for this dunya and just loves this world. They are attached to this dunya. We will not understand Abadillah's true level unless we understand how dunya can affect us, so that we know why it's so great that he rejects all of dunya. You see, we need to do this to understand Karbala. So today, let's understand what is this world in the way Ahlul Bayt speak about it. How do they view it? And how do they reject the negative parts of it? And how can we do the same in a way that Abdullah expects from us, so that if we were there on Karbala, we'll be following the same behavior of those who rejected dunya in favor of Abdullah alayhi salam. So that's our discussion today. I will not take too much of your time, but I will need your attention. So if you are with me, inshallah, sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
So have you adjusted? Can I begin, inshallah? The verse of Quran I mentioned, I actually mentioned it incorrectly. It's actually Ya ayyuhal insan, ma gharraka bi rabbikal kareem. O insan, what misguided you from your Lord? Was he not kind enough for you? Ma gharraka. The way it's phrased is actually directed to you. Was there something not enough with Allah that you needed something else? Ma gharraka bi rabbikal kareem. Did he not have enough mercy and kindness for you that you needed to go elsewhere from him? What misguided you? So here's a question put to all of us. What took you away from God? That I was on that path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I had my intention towards God, I had the best in the end, and at some point I just got tired or bored, distracted, and I forgot the main point of my life. What was it that took you away? The Quran answers the question it asks. So one verse says ma. Elsewhere in Surah Al-Fatih, the Quran says, وَلَا تَغَرَّنَّكَ الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا. Same words. What misguided you? Don't be misguided by love of this dunya. Put them together. Ya insan. Why did you choose dunya over your Lord? Was he not kind enough for you? Put these verses together. This world, this dunya, is sometimes the thing we go to by being attracted to it rather than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we forget something. Whatever we actually want to be happy was never in this world in the first place. It was simply a trick, a charm. It was a trap. And we believed it, and we forgot. For example, people live on this world as if they're going to live here forever. They live here as if this is their whole life. And all their happiness is based on how life is going on right here, and not anything else. Whereas Quran said, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, وَمَا حَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا إِلَّا الْمَتَاعَ الْغُرُورِ. What is the life of dunya except one fleeting moment? I spent my whole life wanting to have wealth and power and women and children and family in this world and focus on them for the sake of this dunya. And Quran says it was simply mata, it was a moment. It was like a second. On the day of judgment we'll be asked, and when we look back at this world, we will look at it like it was mata, it was like a moment. All of that worry and concern begins and ends within mata al-ghurur, a fleeting moment. And I got so worried about the ups and downs of this dunya. A fleeting moment. In Iran, I remember they were trying to purchase, trying to build more properties and reform the towns, and they had housing investment in those areas. So they went to certain remote villages with concrete and slabs and said, look, you guys live in mud houses, let's change your houses for something more firm, more stable. The villagers answered and said, why would we use such a permanent material for such a temporary home? These are not ulama, they are villagers. And they said, why? We know the fact of this world. This dunya is mata al-ghurur, it's a second. All these big palaces and these homes you are building, we're leaving here within a second. Why focus so much on this? Quran says, and in Surah Duha, same idea, وَلَلْآخِرَةُ خَيْرٌ لَكَ مِنَ الْأُولَى. You think this world now is the most important thing. Allah is saying, Akhirah is much better for you than what comes here. So don't focus your attention here. The verse speaks to the Holy Prophet, when the Prophet is concerned about something, And Allah is saying, don't worry, don't worry, give you something after which you'll be so happy with. But not this dunya. Don't worry if you don't have it here. You will have it there. What comes after is better for you than what came before. Even me and you should be thinking like this. That if I'm going for a trial in life, something that's genuinely hard to remember, what comes after is better for me than what's happening to me right now. This trial I'm in now is not the end of my life. What comes after, and God's guaranteeing that will be better for you, and it will be worth waiting for, and it will be worth striving towards. So that's better for me than this thing right now. So don't become too despondent on this life right now. Soon you will see something that will make your eyes happy when God shows you what it's there for. Imam Ali says this is the most hopeful verse in the whole of Quran. Someone asked him, what verse gives you most hope? This verse. You will soon see tomorrow what you did not have today. But I was so busy about today and yesterday, I forgot about the value of tomorrow. Quran says, what is the true reality of the dunya except a place of amusement and play? All of the rat race of my employment and getting a new job and climbing, it was all lahu wa la'ib, honestly. It was just a game played by people seeking more and more wealth in a temporary place. And they built all their life based on something that was going to fall so easily. It is a second, a fleeting moment. It is a place of enjoyment and play. Also, Quran says this dunya for you is like a mirage that you think is there forever, but it's there for temporary. Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
The verse reads about this dunya. Read the Musaf Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. The example of this life, this dunya, is like water which comes from the skies to the ground. You see this water, and it mixes with the ground in front of you. Nabat al-ard, and you see plantations coming from the water that has grown in this earth. And when you go towards it, hashitatan, when you go towards the dunya, you see that all of that greenery has now faded. You thought the rain which comes down will be here forever. But when the season changed, all those crops left. And you were left with dryness, with nothing left. Now, Ali speaking about this verse, this verse says, dunya is like this, it's like a green, luscious place. And it has the same color of permanence. But when you go towards it, within it is the idea of failing and expiration. And by the time you want to grasp onto it, it's left you already. Dunya is temporary. And I attached all my ummeed on something of this dunya. Will that stock go up and down? Will my kid get into this particular school? Will I get this pay rise? And I focused so much on these things, I forgot these things are for something. They're for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That link that we make is where we see Ahlul Bayt's true speciality. Imam Ali in Nahj al-Balagha. Last year I started studying a lot of Balagha, for my own self and for research. Honestly, this book of Nahj al-Balagha has so many mentions of this one topic. Beware of dunya, don't be misguided by it. It's like Ali ibn Abi Talib is saying the same thing so many times, in so many examples. I could give you dozens of examples of him speaking about dunya from Nahj al-Balagha. I'll give you just one. About how Ali ibn Abi Talib warns people around him, don't be too attached to this place. There's a real wisdom in why you shouldn't be. We sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Ali says that this dunya, this world, this life in this world that we are living in one sentence, this world is like an ocean. The ocean is in front of you. Imam Ali says this in one khutbah. It is an ocean of deception and darkness, but you cannot see it from the surface. Some people, Imam Ali says, some people bend over in order to drink from it. The moment they try and touch the shimmering of that water, the ocean takes its ropes of death and attaches it around your neck. Because you beckon forward, it pulls you down lower and lower and lower and makes for you a grave within the seabed of the ocean. A watery grave for you. Then Ali says, I have seen generation after generation of people trapped by this ocean. It is expansive and wide. And every time you think it's going to give you water, because it looks like water, it pulls you down lower and lower and lower. You sit a small amount from it and it goes you down lower and lower and lower. This is dunya.
Because it's not like you can have a bit of this world and a bit of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and total attachment to this world. You can't. The moment you start to become attached to a part of this world, it pulls you lower and lower and lower. And Ali is the example of a rope that has been slung around your neck. And you thought you were just taking a little bit and going away from it. But it had its own intentions for you. It pulled you lower and lower and lower until that was your grave. Then he says the companions, like he says, I've seen so many people do the same thing. 1 second they have so much wealth, the next second they lose all of their wealth. 1 person they are poor, they become rich. One's rich, he becomes poor. It happens all around us. And we thought that it wouldn't happen to us. Ponder on this ocean, he says. Elsewhere in Sermon 137, he says that there are some people who cling onto the waves of dunya thinking they have safety. So sometimes dunya looks like it is a firm and stable place. When you touch it, the waves go away again, and you are left in the same situation you came in with. It's like a wave. Then he says, the people of wisdom are those who construct for them boats. They may be free from the flowing of the water and away from its attraction. This is Sermon 5, he says this. Put all the sermons together. One sermon says, dunya is like an ocean. It pulls you down. Another sermon says, there are some who will drown in this ocean, and there are some who will cling onto waves in this ocean. Third says, there are some who make for them boats. Why is he saying this in his life? Because Ali ibn Abi Talib, Nahj al-Balagha, it's not about his whole life. It's only the last few years of his life when he's in Khilafah. Literally the last 4.5 years of his life. There's many khutbahs which are not in Nahj al-Balagha because of this reason. They're from the life that he was giving before he was Khalifa. In the life of Ali ibn Abi Talib, there are so many people who are living for the sake of dunya. And they have chosen dunya instead of giving bay'at to him. He's seeing it all around him. Muawiyah has purchased many people to support him just because of his wealth. Not just Muawiyah, many of the enemies Ali had no fadilat except money. And the people saw if someone has wealth, they must have haqq with them, and they followed them. This idea was destructive. I'll give one example about this in Battle of Jamal. Battle of Jamal. We all know who it's fought between. There's a man who narrates this. He says, I was at Jamal. I was there. And I saw, after the battle, the corpses of those who fought against Ali ibn Abi Talib. And they were saying their last words. I went near one of them. The man was whispering some words. The companion says, I knelt down and said to him, what is he saying? The man was whispering the words, I am from Banu Dabba, his tribe. And I have been fooled by the one who wanted that she should become Khalifa. And then he says, in my situation, my state is as if someone has dragged me, my own mother has taken me to the water of death. And she didn't return until I had been drowned. Those are his last words. To him, he gets it now after everything. This world was an ocean. And his mother took him to that ocean so that he may be drowned in the ocean. So the companion said to him, listen, you're about to die. Say something better than this. Say your kalma, say something. You're about to leave this world. Man says, well, no, how will I give up now? Give up meaning, how will I accept Tawheed now? Now's not time to give up anymore. Man says, fine, dying, whatever. She says, he gets something, he goes away. As he goes away, the man who's dying says, come back towards me. I want to tell you one thing. Companion kneels down to hear him. When he kneels down, the man wounded bites his ear. So the companion says, why did you do this to me? So the man said, whenever you go anywhere and they see this wound, tell them the man who bit your ear was the one who was drowned in death by his mother. Wow. Now come back to Imam alayhi salam. Some people drown in this dunya. They think they are trusting the waves of certainty, but those waves let them down. And every time someone came to them saying, this is haqq, this is haqq, if they weren't Ali Muhammad, they would always take them astray. Our fifth Imam says, you will never gain true ilm sahih except with us, Ali Muhammad. In the life of Ali ibn Talib, same thing right now. People want to buy us and sell the dunya to us in different ways. One person sells it through social media, one through my job, one through work. Everywhere I go, this dunya is trying to claim me for itself. How? Like an ocean drags people down. Some people drown. Ali says, some people don't drown. They cling on to the wrong things. Some people make boats for themselves. So we come in now. Some people understand exactly what's going on here. I know what dunya is. It's lahu wa la'ab, it's mata, it is a anzal masama. I know what it is. It is like this passing moment, and I'm not going to get tricked by it. But I'm literally in the middle of it. So I'll make for myself a boat. That boat is your deen. That keeps you safe from the ocean beneath. That deen gives you structure, that deen keeps you firm, that deen has unity. All of us are on that boat together. The Holy Prophet says that in the time when there is difficulty in the ocean, go on the boat of deen and come on it together. There's a hadith of the Prophet where he says, all of you, examples like you are sitting on one boat together. That's your example in being in this religion of Islam. And one person is trying to make a hole underneath where they're sitting. And you say to them, stop making the hole or we'll all drown. And the person cannot answer, it's my hole, mind your own business. Because we're on this boat together. This is the example of Ali ibn Abi Talib. When dunya gets tempting and drowns you down with attraction, come together and have for yourselves a boat. That boat is your salvation towards Akhirah. And that boat comes from Quran and Ahlul Bayt. That's what the point of all this religion is for. Okay, now I'll go one step further. In a world which is like an ocean, and drags you down and lower and tries to misguide you. In a world where an ocean is around you, it's true then, Inna al-Husaynu safinatul Najaf. Indeed, Hussein is that ship of salvation. This dunya wants me for itself. Here comes Hussein and says, I am that ship of salvation for you. Hold on to me and escape the traps of this dunya. Go towards Akhirah. 72 men boarded the ship of Hussein alayhi salam. They escaped dunya towards Akhirah. And the one who took them to Abu Abdullah himself. Someone goes to our sikh and says, we've read this narration. Inna al-Husaynu safinatul Najaf. Ship of salvation. Are you all ships of salvation? Imam Sadiq says, all of us are ships of salvation. But if you want the largest ship and the fastest ship, hold on to my grandfather Hussein. For he is the largest of all ships. Why? At Jannah, there are many doors to Jannah. Many doors. Bab al-Sajjad, Bab al-Rida, Bab al-Hussein. The ulama tell us, the widest of all the doors to Jannah. And the biggest door is called Bab al-Hussein. More people enter Jannah through Bab al-Hussein than any other door into Jannah. Now come back to this. We are all ships of salvation, but the largest ship, meaning that largest door to Allah, is the ship of Hussein alayhi salam. Without Hussein we drown. With Hussein we breathe. Without Hussein we don't live anymore. With Hussein we drink sharab and tahura with Hussein. Do you see the difference now? Ask yourself, what's greater, Abu Abdullah or this dunya? I'll give you one answer. When you have fire, are you guys with me inshallah? When you have fire, you need water to put out fire. If the fire is too much, you need more water for more fire. The larger the fire gets, the more water you need to put it out. There is no fire like the fire of hell. Highest of all fires. Even if you gather all of the water of this dunya, you will not put out the fire of that hell. There's not enough water in this world for that fire. Okay, what about the tears for Abu Abdullah? What's greater, the tear for Abu Abdullah or the water of this dunya? The hadith tells us, one tear shed for Abu Abdullah is enough to extinguish all the fires of hell. The tears you shed are not like the water of this dunya. It's a different substance you cry for Abu Abdullah. All of dunya cannot extinguish one fire of hell, but your one tear for Abu Abdullah can destroy all the fires of hell. Now tell me what's greater, dunya or Abu Abdullah? In fact, not only this, what's greater? Dunya or wafadari of Abbas alayhi salam? What's greater? The water of this world or the one man who rejects water? The man who rejects water. For he knows, I would rather have wafa of Hussein than all the water of this dunya. One glass of water will not give you the satisfaction of doing matan for Abbas alayhi salam. Abbas is greater than water. Because everyone drinks water, one man rejects water. This is why the Shaid has said, the poet has said about this line, Khair maqdam ko tarai pa khara hai pani. Khair maqdam ko tarai pa khara hai pani. Sher Haidar tere qadmon pe khara hai pani. All of water there. Abbas, water is waiting for you. Sher Haidar tere qadmon pe khara hai pani. Ghaiz mein Shaam ki faujon se kaha ghazi ne. Ghaiz mein Shaam ki faujon se kaha ghazi ne. Doob jao mere chullu mein bhara hai pani. You think you have water. Water does Ziyad of Abbas when he rejects that water. Doob jao. You drown yourself. I give water. Ana Abbas. I'm Abbas. Who's greater? All of the enemy of Shaam or one Abbas? One Abbas. Because where they drown themselves in dunya, it's the one man who says, Ya nafs ba'd al-Hussein huni, I'll give up all this water for my master Hussein alayhi salam. This is the same dunya we are escaping from, like Abbas escaped from. He would not touch that water and drink it. How can I drink the water in my life? This is Karbala. I can't cry for Abbas and understand how much he was tempted for dunya, but how much he had not a single love for this dunya. One of the poets says, Abbas didn't touch the water tried to touch Abbas. And he rejected it in front of him. Imam Ali says, this dunya is clear for you, it's an ocean, trying to bring you lower and lower and lower. Some people drown. Karbala, they drowned. Some people try to cling onto the wrong waves, but some people make for them boats. Today, we make for ourselves the boat of Abu Abdullah alayhi salam. That boat takes us towards Jannah. And that boat saves us from this dunya. Imam Hussain Islam continues about Khair, I'm going to a different point. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Imam Ali did not have enough people who knew what we just said right now. They kept hearing it continuously from the minbar, from Imam Ali Islam. Like I said, National that's filled with this. But they didn't appreciate the point that dunya will try and bring you down. But if you love Ahlul Bayt, you don't have any attention towards it. However, dunya itself is not the problem. My attraction to it is the problem. The water's not the problem. Me wanting to drink it, thinking it would give me something, I'm the problem. So Imam Islam says, well, haqqul aqul, he says, I'll say the truth towards you. He says, ma'a dunya gharartak. When did dunya actually misguide you? He says, hayat la, walakin, anta, you yourselves gharark. You get misguided yourselves when you went towards this dunya. Then he says in the khutbah, when did dunya lie to you that you are now surprised at what I'm saying? When did it lie? We all know what the things I have just said. We all know it. Imam Ali says in one of the khutbahs, when did it lie to you that you may now complain about this dunya? Because a man was complaining about dunya a lot to him when he said this. He would say, Ya Ali, this dunya, it is poisonous, it is treacherous. And he says to him, did it really misguide you or did you misguide yourself? You knew what it was. Then he says, the dunya opened itself up towards you and you accept it. It made itself open and you accept it. You did this to yourself. Then he says to him, you have seen mal wal banoon, wealth and children. You have seen it in front of you. Then he says, you have seen the decayed bodies of those who are misguided by this dunya. So how can you complain now when you know what it was? It's not a surprise anymore. So now come back to Quran. Ma gharraka bi rabbika al-kareem. What misguided you from your Lord? Was he not kind enough? You knew what dunya was. This is the most heartbreaking thing when I go towards this world. No one lied to us. We know exactly what it was. I just wanted it because of my own weakness. Dunya never pretended it was anything except a trap. It is an open trap for us. But because I wasn't strong enough, I went towards it. So when we say, about that I would have been with you, it's not as easy as just saying it with words. I have to mean it. Like, really, would I have given up everything for you, Abu Abdullah? I haven't given everything now for you, Abu Abdullah. Why would I have given up everything then? Ali Muhammad realized, and they showed to us, every time dunya comes towards you, don't be attracted to it, use it. Don't believe it is the end for your life. Ali says, this dunya they offer to me, it is to me the value of the accidental noise made by a goat walking. That's their dunya. They want to tempt me with khilafah. Dunya to me is nothing. He says, dunya to me, actual dunya, is like a dead piece of flesh in the hand of a man who is a leper. I have no use for this thing. And they offer it to me thinking it's khilafah. They go to Imam Musa al-Qadim alayhi salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. They offer him dunya too. They offer him this word to reject khilafah. His rejection is why they approached Imam Rida alayhi salam, the next Imam, to make him part of khilafah. Because Imam Qadim would not give up. They go to his prison cell. He's in prison. And they bring into the cell women designed there to make him do a sin. Women go into the cell, they close the door. When they open the door, the woman is praying sajda behind Imam alayhi salam. Is a man like Imam al-Qadim going to be misguided in this way? Of course not. So why do I get misguided by the same traps? When did dunya lie to us? When did attraction lie? When did shahwat lie to us? When it came to Ali, he saw its true value. It's nothing. It's like a piece of dead flesh in my eyes. When they get Imam al-Qadim alayhi salam, again, same thing. It's nothing. They went to Abu Talib with the same dunya. Hazrat Abu Talib alayhi salam. They said to him, this prophet you are sheltering, why are you sheltering him? Why? We'll offer to you Khadim al-Haram, all these things. And he says to them, even if you offered me all of the riches that you had, I will not let go of my nephew Muhammad. Have you seen a she-camel give up her child? How can I then give up my Habib Muhammad? This is a man who has no love for dunya. So when he strives in the Sha'ab, in the valley of Abu Talib, he's not going to go and say, I'll give up because times are too tough. He has the tarbiyah of love for his imam. Love for his imam helps him in rejecting dunya. In all those examples, we have to have the same thing. Because I love my Imam, it's got to affect my behavior somehow with this dunya. If the dunya was seen as so small by them, it can't be seen as big by me. Imam Ali once says, I had a companion, he doesn't know who the companion is, he's a companion. He was big in my eyes because dunya was small in his eyes. That's why I liked him. That's why he was my friend.
Wow.
Dunya was little to him, so he became big to me. This is how we should be. Imam Qadim is like this. Imam Ali is like this. Abu Talib is like this. In the darbar of Yazid, Sayyidina Zainab is like this too. Same thing. They are there with dunya all around them, thinking that because they have wealth and power, she'll be misguided. Listen to her speech. She says to them, she says, Yazid, just because, she says, you have us as captives, you think Allah has dishonored us because we are underneath you. But Allah dishonors you, not us from this captivity. Then she says to him, you think because of this dunya that you have, you are great. You think because you have this palace. She says, this palace, these walls that you have, you think it makes you great and it makes us weak because of your palace. She says, no, Allah's only given it to you so you can prove how evil you are with your evil deeds. Every day you have is a proof of your evil deeds. That's why you have this. Dunya is not anything special for you. It's a test for you and you're failing this test. Then she says, Yazid, you think because you have hukumat and power and wealth and all these dunyawi things that you would have superiority over us. But one day you will lose it and you realize it was never yours to begin with. Whereas our wilayat will never change from our family. It's not between us. Our wilayat contains, whether we are in power or not power, we are Ahlul Bayt. Whereas you, all of your wealth, you think makes you in power, you think it gives you legitimacy. You have none. Me sitting here saying this is easy. You sitting and listening is easy. Zainab al-Darbar is not easy to say these things. You're literally surrounded by the weaponry of the enemy. And she still says it then. To show all of us, if you come to Azadari of Abdullah alayhi salam, you come to Sayyida Zainab, you can't come to her saying who loves this dunya. You can't. She's speaking against it in the darbar. Well, and I come and I'm proud of having a nice car and a nice job. Doesn't work like that. We come to Ahlul Bayt saying, all this dunya is simply a means for akhirah. I give my children to you, my wealth to you, I give everything to you. It's for you. Even if I am wealthy, every pound I have is for Ali Muhammad. Even if I have many children, they're for Ali Muhammad. If I have all these things, they're for you. I don't believe that it's for dunya. The same trap Imam Ali saw in his time, which all Imam saw, I will not see the same trap in my own life. I can't. This dunya has betrayed us too many times. How can I trust a dunya which will not even give Abu Abdullah al-Kafar? This dunya will not give Imam Hussain al-Islam one kafan. How can I trust a dunya which had Sayyida Zainab in chains? How can I trust a dunya which saw Sayyid al-Sajjadiya unable to stand up from his grave? This dunya, no, hayhat min billah. In Kufa, people of dunya are those in the darbar. Do you know who the people of akhirah are? They say after Sayyida Zainab and Sajjad give their famous speech, Ibn Ziyad says, get them away from this palace. And they make a small home for them opposite the palace, like a zindan, to be in there waiting. While they are waiting, do you know what they're waiting for? Ibn Ziyad sends many letters to Yazid and says, I have your captives, what shall I do with them? They are yours now. And whatever you wish, I'll do with them. While the letters have been sent, the narrations tell us, the head of Abu Abdullah is still buland in the sky. Ibn Ziyad takes this head and parades the whole city with the head of Abu Abdullah. One narrator says, I was walking through the street, I looked up and I saw many trees. On one tree, I saw a head out of that tree. This was the head of Abu Abdullah alayhi salam. They had gone around balconies and alleys parading the head of Abu Abdullah. Then he says, I saw a strange thing. Even though they were doing this, that head would not stop reading the ayats of Quran. Wherever they take it, I heard Surah Al-Kahf from this head, I heard every surah I heard from this head. Who is this, I asked? And I was told, this is Hussein ibn Ali. When Yazid sends those letters back and says, bring them towards Shaam, they say Ibn Ziyad orders all the men and women to leave and walk towards Shaam. But not walk. What does he say? He says, first of all of the heads will be walking in front of you on spears. Whereas you came on camels, now you will now be walking in chains from Kufa to Shaam. What kind of chains were they going to Shaam with? One narration says, the first one was Sajjad alayhi salam. They bring for him heavy and hot iron, they put it on his wrists and on his ankles. And they attach them together so what? He can't stand and he can't sit. So Imam Sajjad alayhi salam, do you know how he goes to Shaam? He crouches to Shaam. If he stands, his neck is choked. If he sits, the heat comes upon him. So he bends. But how does he bend? Not with a neck without anything. They say there's one thing on his neck. The force of the neck is so heavy, and there are small joints and there are sharp objects pointing inwards towards his neck. So when Imam Sajjad looks up, his neck is pierced by that one iron. When he looks up, when he turns his head, it scrapes across his neck. Imam Sajjad now kneels and goes towards Shaam. They take the children and put them on camels now. What children fell from these camels? As they fell, mothers would kneel down, but they would be wept for picking up their child. Yeah, the children kept falling, no one came to pick them up, and they are still being shaheed while they're on the road. The narration tells us, when Zainab hears this, she turns and says, Sakina, where are you? She turns and sees Sakina sitting on a camel, but she's so tired, she keeps falling from the camel. Zainab says, Sakina, don't fall. If you fall, I can't pick you up. Then she says, I will not go forward unless you make sure that Ruqayya doesn't fall. The Laid come, they take one rope, they tie the rope on the legs of Sakina. Really what? Now she's roped onto the camel. Zainab says, still, her ropes are there, but her body keeps tilting left and right. Sakina is so behosh from the heat. Sometimes she falls left, sometimes she's right. Zainab says, I will not go to Shaam if Sakina falls. They say, okay, they take more ropes. One narration says, they put the ropes on the arms of Sakina, and they lay this 4-year-old girl on the camel. Her arms are back, her legs are forward, and they tie the ropes to her hands. Now her face is facing the sun of the sky. This is how they go towards Shaam. Sakina, her body in ropes. Sajjad, his body in chains. As they go on this journey, at one point they take all of them away from the camels and bring them down. One line says, I have an idea. Put them all on one chain. For when Yazid comes, he should see, we have captured this family in the most disgraceful way. What do? They take Sayyid al-Sajjadeen, they take one special rope and put it around his neck. They attach this neck to Zainab, then to Rabab, then to Layla. All of them are coming on one chain from their necks. But here's the problem. In front is Zainab, behind is Sakina, in between is Sajjad. If he stands, Sakina says, Sayyid al-Sajjadeen, I can't breathe anymore for that one chain on my neck. But if he sits, Zainab will be whipped by the enemy in front. He can't stand, he can't sit. What does he do? The narration says Sajjad goes on his knees and he starts crawling on the way towards Karbala, on the way towards Shaam. This is how Sayyid al-Sajjadeen reaches Shaam, on his hands and on his knees. Ya Allah, Ya Allah, Ya Allah. We pray that for the sake of Sajjad alayhi salam, all those of us in pain, may all of our pain be alleviated, Ya Allah. All of us who are bimar, our illnesses, whether those who know or don't know, let all these illnesses have shifa from Hussein alayhi salam. Those who are too ill and in our family who are unwell to even leave their homes and their beds, give them shifa from Sajjad alayhi salam. And also, Ya Allah, any tears we have shed, let these tears be enough for our darajat, our blessing on the day of heaven, inshallah. And finally, our akhir dua, our most important dua, we always pray this dua, that Ya Allah, for the sake of this majlis and our efforts and our gathering, allow it all to be for the sake of Zaman alayhi salam, inshallah. Allahumma inni as'aluka bihaqqi al-Fatiha wa biha ba'di abniha wa as-sirra musta'awwadu fiha ma'an sunnah Muhammad ma'an ya Hussein.
Ya Hussein, 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 Ya Hussein.
How you doing it?
Ya Hussein, 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 Ya Hussein,
डूबा हुआ करबल का मुसाफिर देखा, हमने डूबा हुआ करबल का मुसाफिर देखा।
अपना सिर भार की दीवार से रोया गाजी, अपना सिर भार की दीवार से रोया गाजी। मैंने देखा कि तू आते हुए बादल देखा,
हमने डूबा हुआ करबल का मुसाफिर देखा।
तुझे हुए हथां दे नाले करके सलाम टुर पई, तुझे हुए हथां दे नाले करके सलाम टुर पई, तुझे हुए हथां दे नाले करके सलाम टुर पई, तुझे हुए हथां दे नाले करके सलाम टुर पई, तुझे होए हथां दे नाले करके सलाम टुर पई, तुझे होए हथां दे नाले करके सलाम टुर पई, तुझे होए हथां दे नाले करके सलाम टुर पई, तुझे होए हथां दे नाले करके सलाम टुर पई, तुझे होए हथां दे नाले करके सलाम टुर पई, तुझे होए हथां दे नाले करके सलाम टुर पई, तुझे होए हथां दे नाले करके सलाम टुर पई, तुझे होए हथां दे नाले करके सलाम टुर पई। जिदे कबीर गाजी, जिदे कबीर गाजी, तेरी बैठ शाम टुर पई, तुझे होए हथां दे नाले करके सलाम टुर पई, तुझे होए हथां दे नाले करके सलाम टुर पई, तुझे होए हथां दे नाले करके सलाम टुर पई। जिदे कबीर गाजी, जिदे कबीर गाजी, तेरी बैठ शाम टुर पई, तुझे होए हथां दे नाले करके सलाम टुर पई, तुझे होए हथां दे नाले करके सलाम टुर पई। नाराज ना थी उठी बैन तू मिल, ते है जथ जथ जन ज़हरा दा, जे मर्ज़ी नाल मैं आवना होगा, कलियां दी प्यू सुधरा, तेरे कातिला तू मैं पुछ के आई आ, ते नहीं मिलिया वक़्त ज़ियादा, ते कु कफ़ान पवेंदी पर देखता सही हो, क्या करके जनाज़िया विच तीरा कुराई सरेंदी, करके जनाज़िया विच तीरा कुराई सरेंदी, कोई भी नहीं लैंदा, कोई भी नहीं लैंदा, चाचा के नाम टुर पई, तुझे होए हथां दे नाले करके सलाम टुर पई, तुझे होए हथां दे नाले करके सलाम टुर पई। ना पास दा काता साडे खैमियां विच, ते बौंदेर खलो तारिया, तेरा किन गैज़ा दुनिया दा मैं तू अल वाला कुछ दहारिया ते अकबर दा कातिल गुलैला दे ते बौंदेर तई हसदारिया मेरे सामने कातिल वीरन दाओ दुर्दी दे
सलाम टुर पई सच्चे होए हथां दे नाले करके सलाम टुर पई
राती रोंदा पुत्र नाले चुप चुप सकीना नाले राती रोंदा पुत्र नाले चुप चुप सकीना नाले हथ शाम दी फतादा हथ शाम दी फतादा कर इंतजाम टुर पई मोहम्मद
Are we gonna go on?